Hi everybody, my name is Sophie Walker and this is Kit Alexander, and we're recording this on a Tuesday morning because the European Tour finished on a Monday. A Monday finish, Kit, did you watch it?
I did watch it. I was going to anyway. I quite like a Monday finish. You know, you sat at home, it's a quiet start to the week. If you're a freelancer like myself, you can build around it. I thought, yeah, watch a bit of European Tour coverage. Made even better by the man that went on to win it, Marcus Armitage. I mean, I've known the Bullet since he first got on the Euro Pro Tour, best part of a decade ago now. Known him ever since, followed him ever since. Just what a guy, genuine. The world's starting to see it now, the character that he is, and the emotion in the winner's interview at the end. Yeah, I was absolutely glued all day. I'd have watched it anyway, but the fact that Marcus was there winning, doing his stuff, I loved it. Loved every second of it yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see the growth of a person. I think a lot of people forget that he's actually in his 30s. So he's not this young, he looks quite fresh-faced, doesn't he? But I'm sure lots of people would have seen his story and heard him speak. He's a great lad. He's actually lives not far from me, so we play a little bit of golf together sometimes, and he's exactly the same on the golf course as he is off the course. And it's nice that you know, the character on tour has become the champion on tour. I think that's always quite important for somebody like that. How did your
he's got the game, hasn't he? That's just like, obviously people know he's got the game. People see the character and see him as a joker, but he is a proper talented golfer as well. So to have both of those is fantastic, yeah, and to see him getting those rewards and fulfilling his dream, which is what everyone wants.
Yeah. How did your team go?
We did okay. I had Paul Casey as captain. So obviously he had a decent finish. You know, if it had gone that extra fourth day, he might have given Marcus a little run for his money in the final round with the momentum building, but I'm glad it wasn't. Joost Luiten was there or thereabouts, as he always is. Schwab and Cantor I had looking good going into the final round, but just fell away a bit. So similar to the week prior in Denmark, solid from pretty much all my players. Only Answer missed the cut, but no one really looking like winning it at any point. How about you?
I had the shock of my life on Friday when I was like, where's Casey? What? But yeah, he fought back, didn't he? He became sixth, which is like a fantastic performance. Yeah, I only got 176 points. Abe missed the cut. The rest of them, much Olsen, much of a muchness. They were all kind of top 30, 40-ish, but you know, you need that winner. Raphael, you got your winner. So Raf's team, it's called. He had Marcus Armitage as captain. So he led last week, which was a great shout. I think Marcus has definitely been trending. He's somebody that I've had on my number 7, number 8. You know, maybe not even quite that high, but I've been looking at his form and he's been doing nicely. And I always felt with him he just needed a chance, give him a chance. And now he's got that win. He's got that winners category. I can't wait to see him play in the Rolex series, and because that's where he wants to be.
In the Open as well.
Yeah, he'll play in the Open. Hopefully, he'll have a thick shoulder. For those of you that know, he busted his shoulder last time. So, yeah, that's going to be cool to watch him play around there. So, US Open and British Open, which is awesome. Right, this week we only have, I don't know if it's 76 or 78 players to pick. That's because it's the Scandinavian Mixed. So half the field is Ladies European Tour, which we can't pick, and the other half of the field is the Men's European Tour. It's in Scandinavia, hosted by Henrik Stenson, and I don't know if many of you have heard of her, somebody called Annika Sorensen. Anyway, she's actually in it.
She used to play a bit in the 90s and early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, she's actually playing, which is quite exciting for somebody like me. So I'll be looking forward.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how she does playing, because she played in that LPGA event and made the cut just at the start of the year. So yeah, I think she might do okay. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, she's entered in the US Women's Senior Open as well. So she's not the type of person that would just turn up and hope for the best. She never has been. She's always been super prepared. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how she goes. Now, do you know a little bit about the golf course? Do you want to tell everybody, Kit?
Yeah, so I've had a little bit of a dig. It's Vallda Golf and Country Club. So it's a place we've not been to before. But the more I looked into it, the more I was really intrigued by the place. It's, you know, very sustainable. They don't use a lot of water, a lot of sand they've put down there, even though it's a naturally quite clayey soil. That means the grass is red fescue, which if you know anything about your golf and grasses, fescue is a very linksy heathland style of grass. And you go onto the website and the little tagline that they've got there is a piece of Scotland. So you know what they're trying to achieve. They're looking for it to be like a sort of linksy heathland UK course from the sort of 1920s, that kind of era. That's what Martin Hawtrey, who co-designed it, has set out to achieve over there with a Swedish co-designer. And the pictures look really, really interesting. I mean, water comes into play on 9 holes. It's just over 7,000 yards, par 72, so a more stock layout than we've had in recent weeks. You've got your 4 par 3s, your 4 par 5s, the rest par 4s. 78 men, as you say, in the field. By all accounts, quite open off the tee. You've got a little bit of room, even though water comes into play in a few places. You shouldn't really need to go too near it unless you're being ultra aggressive. And you do have a little bit of room off the tee, but it's around the greens where things get really interesting. Some funky green complexes, tricky slopes, some really clever bunkering as well, by the looks of it, from the course layout, the course plan. So an intriguing test. I think it's one that the players won't be familiar with. And it's something that they might not necessarily expect to find in Sweden. It's going to have a very UK heathland, almost linksy feel to it. Who have you been looking at this week as for your team?
Yeah, well, I texted a few of the players and so I was like, how's the course? And everybody just replied, linksy feel, linksy. And like you said, I was really surprised by that. I did the Sky Sports podcast yesterday and had done a very small bit of research on what was going on. And Gary Murphy said Ryan Fox. And I was like, oh, Ryan Fox, okay. He's not been around for a little while. And that was his reason. He said he's done really well at the Irish Open, seconds. He's done really well at the Scottish Open. So that one just came out of kind of nowhere for me. And I thought, hang on a minute, that's not a bad shout, which wasn't somebody that I'd considered until last night when I started to do my research for this. And you are right, it says Scottish Heathland on the email. So yeah, I was like, okay, that's something to consider. So then I've gone with somebody like Jamie Donaldson, who he did well in Scotland that time, didn't he? That quite nice shot that one time to win a Ryder Cup. So yeah.
A little bit of a track record.
A little bit of form, and to be fair, he's got a little bit of form recently as well. He had a wrist operation. That's why he kind of fell off the face of the earth. He's had 5 top 20s in his last 6 outings. And okay, it's not the same course as normal in Sweden, but his record in Sweden is pretty good. It's 10th last time he was out there, and he's 4th in strokes gained and stroke average on the European Tour at the moment. And I think this format will quite suit Jamie. I've played a bit of golf with Jamie Donaldson. Me and Amy Bolden will take on him and Dave Horsey. And I don't know how the right word to say this. He does quite enjoy being around us girls. Like when we go to Morocco, not in that way, but you know, the talking and the chat, the event in Morocco.
Well, he's a very effervescent guy, isn't he? He likes a bit of banter and stuff. Yeah. So yeah.
You share the same catering in Morocco, and he'll always come and sit with our group and be like, hi girls, you all right? You know, how are you getting on? I know the bubble's a bit different, but I think he'll be a player that will really quite enjoy being on the practice ground next to some of the best players on the Ladies European Tour, and he'll get quite into it. And I think hopefully every player will, but that's why I'm thinking JD for that. He's got a decent record around Walton Heath. He's qualified for US Opens and British Opens round there. So he's another one for me. I'm going with Sam Horsfield again because I mean, there's no reason not to. And for everybody, I have seen on his Instagram, 1, he got on the plane, and 2, he's hit balls on the practice ground in Sweden. So
I was going to say, do we need to, after what happened last week, do we need to keep an eye? But I'm glad he's there. Brilliant.
And actually, for last week, you need to thank Kit, because Kit got onto basically the makers of the game. And because he had him in his team, he was like, excuse me, everybody, can we have the midnight, please, the midnight closing, because that's what it should be, blah, 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 blah. And they changed the game. So thank you, Kit. We actually got to change our play.
Well, I can't take too much credit. Someone brought it to my attention on Twitter that it had been closed. before the Friday midnight because of the later start, and I got in touch with the guys at the European Tour who look after it, and they in turn got in touch with the makers of the game, and within about half an hour we had the transfer back open so you could do it before midnight, which was great for me because I still had Horsfield in my team at that stage, which was great for my girlfriend because she hadn't changed her team at all, so I got a little bit of brownie points at home, which is excellent, and hopefully it helped a few other people as well.
Oh, have you still not done that like you used to do at fantasy football? Just hope nobody changes the team. You're still being honest with your girlfriend and saying,
"Oh no, absolutely, yeah, I'm honest." In fact, I remind her to do it. She's really into it, loves doing it. But every week I make sure, "Have you done your team?" And now at the start, it was like she'd do it when I remind her. Now most weeks, if I remind her, she's like, "Oh, I've already done it."
yeah. Well, this week, this could be my one of the finest moments of my life, actually. I'm on the commentary team for the European Tour, and you get to pick, don't you? You get a player each.
Oh, you do, yeah.
So this could be massive for me. I mean, it's my debut on European Tour production. This could make or break me of who I pick. So yeah, you're gonna have to help me out. Who are you going with, Kit?
Okay, so I mean, you've mentioned Foxy. Ryan Fox is in. He was in my probably top 3 or 4, to be honest. Horsfield's there as well. Yeah, anytime Horsfield's teeing it up in a normal, if you like, European Tour event at the moment, he's got to be considered right at the top with his
He's
form
done
and
well
his
in
ability.
Sweden as well, Kit. He's got he's got a couple of good results in, and then I was thinking Heathland, Walton Heath. He's done all right on there as well. So
yeah, so loving him. Ryan Fox hasn't played loads this year, but tied 11th last week in the European Open. Has that good record around Linksy style courses that you've mentioned as well. Hits it a very long way. His approach play statistics are fantastic. A bit of an underrated short game as well. It's the putting that it'll boil down to if he can hole a few putts. And it might be that the tricky undulating greens equalize the putting somewhat. Sometimes you find when the greens are super slopey and super difficult, it brings the good putters closer to the average to poor putters, if you like. So that might be an equalizer for someone that isn't such a good putter statistically. Joost Luiten, I'm continuing to go with the Dutchman. He's just super solid. Seems to be top 15 every week. I mean, his last 6 events, he's finished top 15. The other one of those was that withdrawal in Tenerife, and he was in the top 15 going into the final round when he had to withdraw. Yeah. So he's just super consistent. Okay, he hasn't really looked like winning any of those events, to be honest, but I think it's only a matter of time until one of those top 15s turns into a chance for victory.
I was looking at his stroke average. He's 69.38, which you think, oh, that's not bad, but he's played 40 rounds. So a lot of these guys that sit nearer the top might be only 20 something. That's 10 events of real consistency.
Absolutely. And his bogey avoidance is spectacular. I think he's second on the tour for bogey avoidance, just doesn't drop shots. Yeah. So I like him every week. He's just a consistent person that you know is going to put in a decent result, I think. So he's gone into the team. The other one, Calais Samoya, I'm putting in. Really good putter. So kind of on the flip side to the difficult greens, maybe evening it up. Mm-hmm. If the difficult greens mean you need to be a bloody good putter to avoid 3 putts, Calais Samoya is your man. He's contended. It feels like he either contends or misses the cut, basically, to me. Like he's top 10 or misses the cut. Hopefully it'll be top 10 this week. I really like him. Alex Bjork has been putting in some really nice performances, was in contention in the Maiden Himmerland, was in contention at Green Eagle in the Porsche just yesterday, fell away in that final round a bit, but he's still playing good golf. I like him. His approach play and putting work this year has been really nice statistically. And then my 6th is someone a little bit of a curveball, because I figure, you know, we're at a time, and this is a kind of tournament where you can maybe chuck in a little bit of a curveball. And I'm going Darren Fickhart. He's 46 years old, the South African, but he's been playing some fantastic golf. Won twice on the Sunshine Tour last year. More than half of his starts since the start of last year have been top 15 finishes, albeit a lot of that in his native South Africa. But he's playing really well. Statistically, superb from tee to green. And you might think for a 46-year-old, not long off the tee wouldn't be his MO, but he shifts it out there over sort of around 300 yards. So he's amongst the top half in length on tour as well. So just for form, I'm going Darren Fickhart. I think he could put a cat amongst the pigeons this week. So that would be my 6.
When you look at the stats, Darren Fickhart sits quite high. There's one which he sits reasonably high on, and it was something like strokes gained tee to green. I thought, oh, right. And Bjork plays well in Sweden. So he was second last outing in Sweden. And he did well at Walton Heath when Eddie Pepperell won. I think he was second there. So that's not a bad shout either. I'm looking at somebody like a Richie Ramsey. Because he plays out of Renaissance Golf Club, which is that type of fescue, wide off the tee. As you get closer, it starts to get slightly more difficult. And this type of course sounds a lot like a Richie Ramsey course. And I've been looking on Twitter, because normally if he likes the course, he starts going on about it on Twitter, and then he has a good week. So I'll keep refreshing to see that. What about Jason Shrivner? He's someone that likes this type of hard. Okay, we said it's a little bit Scottish-like, but I also think you'll find these type of courses in Australia as well, the firm and the fast. He's taught by Liam James, who is over there. So Liam James goes out with Amy Bolden. So he's got a double-edged sword this week. I'm sure he's going to be a busy man. So he's going to get the opportunity to start back working with Jason. He's one of his first pupils that he started with. So he had a great, was it second in Abu Dhabi?
Was first Rolex, and
and
right
then
up
well at the PGA, didn't he? So he's someone that I think I'm going to definitely put in my 6, just because the field is okay. I wouldn't say that it's the strongest field, and somebody who's playing that well, that caliber of player, for me, kind of goes in. Now, we haven't mentioned one man, Henrik. What are you thinking? Yay or nay?
I'm a nay. I'd love to see him play well. He's probably a little bit more familiar with the course than some of the others due to the logistical work that will have gone in with getting the tournament on there. He's probably seen it. I just don't think he's playing well enough at the moment. And on top of that, all of the duties that go along with hosting a tournament, he's going to be a very, very busy man this week, hugely in demand. The week is shortened anyway because of the Monday finish in Germany. So essentially, he's got Tuesday and Wednesday to do a hell of a lot of media work, and through the tournament as well. Plus try and find something within his game that clearly hasn't, unfortunately, been there of late. For me, I just can't see him contending this week. That's my personal opinion. I'd love it if he did, because I love Henrik. Funny guy, dry sense of humour. He's come back from being down and out twice in his career, 2 huge turns. Can he do it a 3rd time? You know what? If anyone can, Stenson probably can, but I don't think this will be the week for it. What do you make of his chances?
His record in Sweden is very good. You know, some people, when they get home, that the pressure gets to them and they don't like it. I don't know. Like, he doesn't play in many, and I don't want to word this wrong, normal European Tour events.
Yeah.
And I think that I do think it's somebody to actually think about, because of the caliber of player. When the likes of Martin Keimer come back to play, I mean, even so, I don't think Henrik's playing well as Paul Casey, but when Paul Casey comes back, they're always up there. Can you? It's one of those. Is it going to be the Rafael Cabrera Bello one, where
that's exactly it? Yeah.
Or are we going to see somebody that, you know, like when Paul Casey comes back? That's the decision that a few people are going to have to make.
For a bit of context on Stenson's form, his last top 10 was actually when he won the Hero World Challenge at the end of 2019. That was his last top 10. So since then, I mean, this year his form reads tied 46th, miscut, 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 38th, 63rd, 64th, miscut, miscut. Now, he is a class player. He's a major champion. He's the host. He's coming home to a place where he has performed very well in the past in Sweden. But that's a lot of miscuts and not many good finishes.
Pete Cowan has almost taken it on himself and blamed himself a bit by saying he's got no idea at the moment. This was a couple of weeks ago. Like Stenson is almost like messed up with his swing. So that's not a good place for a player to be in. But that was a few weeks ago. But yeah, you're right, Kit. You know, it's a risk, but it's not. If you put him in your team, it's not like, oh wow, we've got Henrik.
And there will be a lot of people that do, because he's Henrik Stenson, and you can't argue with that. I mean, in terms of risks, like we said, this is a field that you know drops off reasonably quickly, and you can do it. It's maybe worth taking a risk. Only the 78 guys that you can pick in the field anyway, because it's split with the ladies. Are there any other names that people might not ordinarily consider that you want to chuck out there? Because you've got your
Lemke, haven't you? You love a Lemke.
Yeah, he's gone off the boil a bit since he had to withdraw from being a contact. Yeah. He's got, you know, the back end of last year, start of this year was good, but again, like, he's someone who I think has it in him, and in Sweden probably even more so. So yeah, Lemke's maybe.
Who else should we have a look at?
There's a name I want to chuck out there.
Go on then, you chuck out one.
Similar to your Antipodean. So you mentioned the Aussies.
Yeah.
Similar style of golf courses. So there's a New Zealander in the field called Josh Geary.
Right.
Not many people will know much about him, but he's actually had some sort of quietly nice form this year, splitting between the European Tour and the Challenge Tour. He's been playing well. And what makes me notice him particularly this week is he's a really good exponent of the short game and putting. Once he gets within sight of the greens, he comes to life. Yeah. And I think that might be a really good recipe for this week, potentially, depending on how these green complexes play out. I think he's shown enough form, and there's enough in his game and how he's playing at the moment that I think in this field, he might be a name to look at. And I don't think many people would even consider looking at his form or his stats. He's that far sort of down, and a player that wouldn't be on many people's radar. I think Josh Geary is worth a look, and you might actually be able to get some decent odds on him this week as well in terms of betting.
There's a lot of players. I mean, looking down this list, there's a lot of players that need to start kicking on this year. You know, Dave Horses, Oliver Fishers, Rob Rocks, James Morrison's. It's, you know, we're getting on in this season now. So these type of players, it's so important for them to have big weeks.
Suddenly if you're not in top 110, 115 on the race to Dubai, this is where, you know, there's a lot of majors coming up, which is great if you're in them, but if you're not, you start losing ground. It's another week where you're not playing. It's this time in the year where you start to think, oh, I've only got X number of weeks left to have that one big week, or those 3 or 4 consistent weeks that are going to save my card. And that adds a whole new pressure to the situation.
Yeah, it does. Well, I think our teams is pretty similar this week. There'll be the odd one. Kit, who am I gonna say on television?
Well, I think Sam Horsfield's your main man. You love a bit.
Sam Horsfield's my main man. If he gets picked, you know, I can see. Yeah, Jamie Spence will just be straight in there with the favourite.
Sure. He likes a favourite.
And I won't get first pick. If I'm last one in, I'm not getting first pick.
I think Ryan Fox and Alex Bjork, for me, are good ones that people might go, oh, interesting. Like Joost Luiten, solid, bit obvious. If you want to go in there and give them a bit of a name that they might not necessarily think of or might not put in their top 3 or 4, I think a Bjork or a Fox, I think it is a nice shout.
Right. Thanks for that, Kit. And who are you captaining?
It's great. I mean, it might be Fox. It might be Rav. I haven't decided for sure yet, but I don't know. Our conversation today has actually urged me more towards Ryan Fox. But we shall see.
I'm going Horsfield because he's my man. I'm sticking with it, staying loyal.
I think it's a good shout.
Right, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I hope this has helped you with your picks. Please like, subscribe, comment below. Should I pick Ryan Fox or should I pick Bjork on Thursday? It could be the most important decision of my life. Right, thanks for watching. See you again soon.
Bye.